What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here, coming at you with another Dauntless video. But first, if you enjoy quality gaming content, then consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications so you don't miss any of my future uploads. That being said, in today's video, I wanted to bring you the third installment in my avatar builds guide video, whatever you want to call it, for the Frost Escalation. I've already made two really good build videos, one for the Avatar of Control, as well as a build for the Avatar of Unity. In today's video, I'm bringing you my go-to build for fast clears with the Avatar of Subtlety, that is the Wounding Avatar. Now, as you can see in the build, I'm running the Warpike. I will preface this video by saying you can use something like chain blades, for example. They are a really good alternative with the proper cell usage to put out a lot of wounds as well. But because we just had the Wound and Warpike rework with patch 1.6.0, I wanted to base this build around the Warpike. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So right out the gate for the Warpike, since we're running Frost Escalation, we got to run that Blaze weapon for that additional elemental damage. So we're running the Torgadoro Blaze Escalation Pyroclastic Envoy Warpike. And on that, we have +3 Savagery and +3 Predator. For the special mod, I'm running Concussive Payload. The regular mod is Executioner's Spearhead, and the bond is the Hellion Warpike Inferno's Arrow, which will give us built-in +3 overpower, as well as a nice 75. This potentially is a little bit more damage on our 8th hit, and because we're going to be doing that really fast-paced stab combo a lot, this should proc pretty frequently. So a really nice combo there. For those of you that are a little newer to the game and don't know what these cells are, Overpower, go-to, really strong cell for damage, gives us 60% bonus damage versus staggered behemoths. This is when you legitimately stagger them with stagger damage, as well as when they do their interrupt animation from having a part break. So anytime you break a behemoth part, that little stutter animation, that also triggers overpower. So big damage buff there. For Predator, we get a 35% damage boost for as long as we haven't taken damage for 15 seconds. We do lose this if we get hit. So if you're not comfortable dodging that much, or you're a little newer to the game, feel free to swap this out with a more passive or defensive type of cell. For Savagery, that gives us 100% bonus damage versus wounded parts. And obviously, because we're on Warpike, you could imagine how beneficial this is, because we're going to be putting a ton of wounds on the behemoths. So big damage boost there. Moving on to the helmet, we have the Dark Watch. This is the Shroud helmet that has +3 rage built in, as well as a +3 discipline cell on it. For those of you that don't know, discipline will give us a 7.5% critical strike chance bonus, as well as make sure our health pool stays below the 50% mark, which activates the half health perks like Rage, for example, which will give us another 25% damage boost. So a really good synergy there if you want high damage output. Moving on to the chest piece, we have the Quill Spike Jacket. This is the Quill Shot Jacket. That has our second +3 Savagery built in, as well as a +3 Berserker cell for more damage. Again, this is a more veteran kind of cell. Feel free to swap that with something a little more passive. It does reduce our health by another 150, but gives us the potential for 20% more damage for only 3 points of cell economy. So really strong there if you're able to manage your health. Now, to manage our health, we will be running +6 Cascade, and we will find this in the cell in our lantern, as well as the cell in our legs, which is the next thing I'm going over. So for the legs, we have +3 Predator built in. This is the Stride of Thorns, that is the Koshai legs, as well as our first point, +3 points into Cascade. For the gloves, I'm running the Boreal Might. That will give us +3 rage built in, as well as our final +3 to get us +6 for overpower. But back to what I was saying for Cascade, the reason why this is so good is because it's kind of hybrid. If you have the right build and you're able to activate your Lantern Hold ability really quickly, you can generate these boost orbs really fast, and the amount of health regen you get from the green orbs more than compensates for the amount of damage you take. So it's a really good substitute for cells like Parasitic or Iceborne. But on top of the health regen green orbs, we also get several other buffs. So the yellow orbs will give us bonus stamina regeneration, the red buffs will give us bonus power, and the purple orb will give us an invincibility shield, which pretty much mitigates all damage for a short period of time, similar to the invincibility shield you get while fighting Valamir and breaking the purple crystal while fighting Valamir. So really strong cell, and I almost put this on all my builds now instead of Iceborne. It's really, really handy. As for the lantern, I'm running Embermane's Rapture for the increased attack speed, as well as throwing on our second Cascade cell to get us to +6. For the tonics, I'm running the Blitz tonic for increased attack speed, Frenzy tonic for increased damage, as well as the Cleansing Pylon. This is more for just emergency purposes. If you get used to the build enough to where you're finding you don't need these Cleansing Pylons anymore, then I would recommend swapping that for the Insight tonic, which will boost your wound damage output for 75 seconds by another 40%, so you'll get those wounds even quicker. So really strong tonic to use with the Warpike, and that's definitely what I would swap for the Cleansing Pylon. Lastly, the other thing I wanted to mention before we go into the Escalation Terminal to go over the amps is this particular build is a max damage, fast clear build for the Frost Escalation with the Avatar of Subtlety. It is not a farming build. If you want to max out the amount of part breaks you can get, then I would probably swap a few points, maybe +3, if not all points from Overpower and potentially Berserker or Predator, with 6 points into, say, Sharpened for that increased part damage. That will reduce your overall damage output so you don't kill the behemoths as quickly, but increase the part damage so you can get those part breaks a little more effectively. But yeah, again, this is strictly for clearing the escalation super quick, getting experience really fast, and helping you max out that escalation terminal so you can get those amps you need. But once you do that, feel free to swap over to a sharpened build to get those part breaks and start farming those weapons and armor. But now that we're done with the build, let's run over to the escalation terminal and I'll show you the amps that I chose for Frost Escalation. Now, this is very similar to my previous builds, with the exception of 2 changes this time. In row 1, we have 1 point in Frozen Armor for the increased shields, 3 points into Zai's Maneuvers for the 15% passive movement speed buff, and then the first change is we're putting 3 points into Farslayer's Precision. This will grant 15% passive part damage converted to wound damage, so we'll do a little less part damage, but our wounding will be a lot more effective, as well as 1 point into Furline Gear for that increased frostbite mitigation. Moving into column 2, obviously take Furline Gear 2, skipping the 3 points in Borman's Might because we don't care about stagger damage anymore, unlike the Avatar of Control where we're using Hammer. Having the wound buff is a lot more effective with Warpike, so we're skipping that this time and going straight to column 3, where we're putting 3 points into Morva's Reinforcement for the 15% passive damage reduction throughout the entire escalation, so a really strong buff there, as well as 1 point into Bottled Warmth. This will prevent frostbite buildup for 8 seconds after leaving the radius of the lanterns, so all of the running in between each arena after each fight is completed, that will prevent you from building up frostbite for no reason. It'll just delay that frostbite effect even further, as well as Furline Gear 3 for even more frostbite mitigation. Moving on to the 4th column, we've got 1 point into Heated Blade. This is really strong because it stacks, unlike the other amps. So basically what this does is it increases your damage by 50% on hit for every number of Heated Blade stacks that you have. So for example, between the final arena and the final fight with Urska, you pass by like 5 or 6 lanterns, so that is 5 or 6 initial 50% damage increased hits that you're going to be getting right out of the gate to initiate that fight with Urska. So really strong there, as well as 1 point into Warm Blooded. This is basically our get out of jail free card. If by some chance you do get frozen throughout the escalation, this once per run will allow you to instantly reduce your frostbite buildup back down to 50% and break you out of that frozen state. Lastly, in the 4th column, we have 3 points into Cat's Claws for the 10% passive attack damage buff. In the 5th column, we have 1 point into Never Bothered Me. This is the perk that rapidly fills your meter back up to 50%, but also gives us a 15% passive attack damage and damage reduction buff throughout the entire escalation. So really strong amp as long as you can manage your frostbite. Moving on, we have 3 points into Lucky Strikes for the 15% passive critical strike chance bonus, as well as 1 point into Cold Rush, which gives us a 25% increased movement speed, 15% increased attack speed, and 10% increased damage for 2 minutes after a behemoth dies. So anytime we run into the arena against the double behemoths, as soon as we kill the first one, that is a huge buff that we're getting, jumping right into that second one, making those double behemoth rounds much more easy. And then last but not least, obviously, we're going to be taking the aspect of the Scout. When a behemoth part is wounded, gain 2% increased damage for the remainder of the escalation. This is increased to 4% because we're running the Avatar of Subtlety, the wounding avatar. So really, really strong passive upgrade here. And as you'll see from the escalation clip that I'm about to show you, we get upwards of almost 30 stacks with the proper build. Like if you're running straight wound damage or part damage, you can probably get even more, where we're getting 30 plus wound stacks for this. So that is over 100% bonus damage that we're getting just because of this passive upgrade here. So really, really strong. All of these amps synergize together really well. But without any further ado, let's jump into a escalation run here, and I'll show off how good the build is and what it's capable of. Enjoy, you guys.
This boon will galvanize your allies when you deal grievous harm to the enemy. Behemoth won't menace my people any longer. I'm grateful, Skyslayer, but the fight's not over yet. As soon as you have the charge Aether you seek, you must move on. This behemoth is vulnerable! Hit my mark, Skyslayer! The Frost Wardens have allies like you. Now, take what you need from the Aether Burst, and quickly. I spotted a crack in its armor. Target my mark! attention you can get. Keep an eye out for the spears. More powerful, but only if you inspire them with your prowess in battle. Will return. It always seems to find a way. But the Frost Wardens, and perhaps our new allies, will be ready.
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. Also, if you're looking to join a killer community of like-minded gamers, then be sure to click the link in the description and join the Glitch Gang Discord server. We continue to grow every day, and it's filled with all your favorite game discussion channels, as well as several LFG channels to help you find that perfect group for your next hunt or raid. Lastly, if you're new to the channel and want to keep up to date with all my future content, then consider hitting that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Hope you all had a great day, and I will catch you on the next one.